Or should we look to invest in an overhead detection system? That's what stimulated this entire conversation. We met with the state a handful of times in talking with Mike Schweikert, our traffic engineer, in addition to Nick. We thought it would be a good idea to pursue the overhead detection on those 3 intersections because they were going to be redone regardless. That also prompted the next conversation we had, which we looped the mayor in and Dana and gathered a whole bunch of information and cost as far as what would it cost to do all of Mayfield Road. And we simply asked, because we have deteriorating roads and faulty loops at multiple areas on Mayfield Road. And just to name a couple, East and West Minor, Chelmsford, Commonwealth, Woodrow, just off the top of my head, are faulty. So, again, many conversations. Do we fix the road where they're at, put new loops in, take a chance of them coming down Mayfield Road next year, ripping them, or a couple of years, whatever it is, ripping them back out and we're right back to square one? Or do we look at putting overhead detection in while the contractor is here on site? We thought it was a good idea. Of course, we had to declare it with the keeper of the funds to make sure that the money was available before we even had the discussion. At that point in time, we reached out for official change order numbers. So you saw a couple different numbers. The $286,000 was for the first 3, and then the additional 17 in total came to the 766. I believe it was, minus the credit that we will be receiving back for non-perform with the other loops. So that's what that's a quick synopsis of how we got to where we're at today. I did provide all of you. I know it was late in the day today. The intersections, all 17, and the proposed scope of work. In my opinion, it makes sense to do only for the fact of the unknown of Mayfield Road and what we're up against right now with the current situation of the traffic and how it flows currently. And in addition to that, the homework we've done, and based on the email, again, I'm not sure how much you guys have or have read in front of you as far as what was presented, but the cloud-based system was the first part of this. These cameras will essentially talk to each other to help with better flow all the way down. We have 3 camera systems right now that are faulty. 91 in Mayfield is nearing its useful life and has multiple issues. Lander Road also has multiple issues. They have a rough shelf life of about 10 years. And underground, unfortunately, there's no guarantee with anything, but underground, if the road crumbles, the loop goes. It's just the way, unfortunately, this system works. And it gets tedious, and we get multiple calls and complaints. I know the mayor's office does. You all may as well, as far as how long we wait for lights and things like that. And so we thought this would be a good approach to making sure where this is something we don't have to worry about for a very long time. We can come in and get Mayfield Road done without any headaches and having to do things twice. So with that said, I'm happy to take any questions. Of course, there's a lot of information here, so. Only one question. I'll just kid.
Chuck, I just wanted you to, the one question I had asked you about, well, I asked you a lot of questions.
No, you did.
But the one thing was how much it costs to fix the loop in the ground right now. Remember, we talked about that.
So an average loop, so each intersection could have multiple loops. There's could be just one for the light, it could be a turn, it could be a left turn, a right turn, there could be multiple loops. So let's just, for argument's sake, we just had one redone on Ridgeberry and Geesey last year before the road construction took. There was a little piece in the corner that was popped up. The light wasn't changing. That work, and don't quote me on the exact number, was $1,500 just for one loop. Each intersection has a minimum of 4. So, you remember that, Andy?
Concrete
Remember that?
work.
Oh, I'm sorry?
And then on top of the concrete work that you would have to do.
Oh, yeah, so the concrete would have to get repaired before any loops go in.
Right.
Because you can't, that would just make no sense to repair the loop with spiderweb concrete. So we'd have to go in and repair the concrete, pull it all out. We can do that in-house. It's quite an undertaking. It's 12 inches of concrete, or is it 12 or 8? It's thick concrete on Mayfield Road. But to get a contract in place to do that work, it will cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So,
Mr. Teller.
Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt there. I guess the question I have is looking forward, I think you just kind of answered that too, is moving forward, if 5 years from now we had trouble with the new system, at least it's above ground, we can work on it. The old system, it would be major stuff to repair. Even if we go back to the loops and repair the loops when Mayfield Road is done, 5 years from now we have some problems, we'd have to dig up the ground again if we did it the old way.
That's correct.
So doing it the new way just makes sense for maintenance, something goes down, right?
Yeah, and it's more, the technology of the overhead, I think, based on what I've read and talking with Mike, is way far more advanced than in the ground loops. So,
And Andy, you're 100% right. And then you have the gas company and the water department, they're in the school, and everything's under there, they come and get it all.
Yeah,
And it's on us, just like Easy Way.
yeah, they'd have to come and mark everything and, yeah,
Our loops are there, please don't hit them, they go right through it, they don't.
yeah.
we've had many, to Mr. Fatika's point, we've had many challenges with utilities just coming out and doing what they want to do, when they want to do it, because they're emergency repairs. And, you know, Nick does a great job with helping us get through that process, but they're in no hurry for anybody, unfortunately.
So Chuck, may I follow up? Okay, so then, since everything's above ground now, if there's issues with weather,
Yeah.
storms or whatever, is it a better chance of like those getting knocked out as opposed to the loops underground?
You know, that's a good question. In all of my years, I have not heard of any of those overheads being knocked out or defected due to weather.
Okay.
Sometimes, and we've gone out and some of the Opticom gets blocked with some snow, wet snow, so weather could play a factor in maybe blocking some of those. But we would get notified, and we would go out and just, you just go out there and
Okay.
wipe it down real quick and
Thank you, Chuck.
yeah, take care of it. Sure.
Yes, Ms. Teller.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few questions. One is I just want to get educated a little bit.
Sure.
And not make any assumptions about what do you mean by loop? You said there's 4, but what is the purpose of that? So I understand the technical piece of that.
Sure.
And then I have some follow-up
So
questions.
loop detection is a sensor that's built into the ground. You could typically see it. Most intersections, it looks like this.
Okay.
But it's buried in the ground, it looks like that, and it's covered with a sealant. And it senses when a vehicle's on top of that, which sends a signal to the traffic box, which sends a signal to the controller, then to the light, and so forth and so on. So early in the morning, for example, when you guys are out traveling at 2:30 in the morning, you get to a loop, and there's no other cars around, that loop will change like that, because it knows the time of the day. But if you go right now, it also knows the time of the day, and a functioning loop will pick up on those cars at that intersection, this intersection. Once a car triggers that loop, it starts the process of the cycle of the light.
Okay. So what other issues are we having besides that? Because you mentioned other issues. So just want to understand what other issues. And then with the new system, what would differentiate, what would change, and what would drivers see or feel because of a new system? Compare the old and what people are experiencing with how things will be different with the new system.
So the issues we're seeing right now along the corridor is the concrete is failing at multiple intersections, which the minute these wires become exposed, it shuts everything down as far as a working system. It sends everything just into a timed system, which, it can vary. It's 2.5 minutes per light, and it just rotates every 2.5 minutes. And that's it. You get what you get. Like Ridgeberry, for example, right now is on a time system because the loops are no longer on the ground because of the road work. So you have to wait, even if there's nobody in the turn lane, you still have to wait for all the left arrow. So in a working system, that doesn't happen. What drivers are going to notice is probably nothing as far as sitting on a loop versus overhead. The overhead senses the cars. It sees the cars versus, and not in any security type of a fashion, just senses a car. Same idea with an underground, it's just above ground. That's really the only difference.
So the issues go away, basically, though, and so people won't be waiting, right?
With a good working system, they will be only waiting their normal,
The minimal cycle that's triggered
whatever
when
is
the
set.
sensor.
That's correct. And whatever is set for that particular intersection. Mayfield and Som, maybe set longer because there's more cars.
Sure.
So yes, that's the idea.
Okay. And what's the shelf life, do you believe, of this new system, just so we have an understanding of?
So based on what Mike has shared with me, the shelf life is still between 10 to 15 years, given the factors of weather and other things that, take place. But the likelihood, I shouldn't say that, I guess you just don't know, but the shelf life overhead is at least 10 to 15 years. Concrete work, asphalt work, it changes on a yearly basis. We could have great concrete this year, and the following year it could be all heaved. And we've experienced at least 5 blowups this year on Mayfield Road with cement that looked just like this. The heat popped it and it crumbled just like that, and it was fine. So you take a chance, I think, more so with things being in the ground than versus overhead.
And then my final question then is, how long will the project take then? What do you project the project to start? What's the duration?
In addition to what's already started, so if approved, this was a couple of weeks ago when I started the process. They were 12 weeks out as far as the equipment. So figure 12 weeks from now, I can't give you a ballpark because it all depends on when the new equipment comes in. I know ideally they do not want to be working in the air in the middle of December. So, and I don't know, maybe Nick, you know better offhand, the state has pretty strict guidelines of time frame. I mean, so I don't know what would happen. Of course they have to finish the job. And that's why I asked today about the extra money, if additional expense. So I don't know how far this will push us out. I guess if it goes smoothly, it could go quicker and weather permitting, but I don't know offhand.
Yes, Mr. Teller.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chuck, one last question. Will this system help, for example, Sound Center Road and Mayfield Road, sometimes going westbound, when you're turning, you're coming off of 91 going westbound. Sometimes what happens is the light triggers by Master Pizza up there,
Yep.
by the thrift store, and then traffic backs up, and then none of the cars in the intersection can move. Will this new system read off each other so traffic could flow more smoothly? Will that work?
The answer to your question is yes, and I made sure. So this is a quote from one of my emails from Brock, the project manager for Param Electric, who's doing the work. It said the new video detection system will provide all detection at the intersection and will replace all the loops. The system will allow for communication to all compatible devices connected to the network. They'll all be connected. We have the cloud-based system will connect everything. Improvements to traffic flow will depend more on how the equipment is programmed. There's a part in there that allows for programming as well. So, yes, to answer your question.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes, Mayor.
I have a question for you. This is something I forgot to ask about Mike Schweiger. Does he have experience working with these type of cameras?
He does, yes. And I forgot that piece. I did ask him along the way, maybe not in an email, how many other communities have these. And he did.
I know the closest two are Stowe and Hudson.
Yeah, he provided me a couple of those.
Yes.
And they're fairly newer.
They're like the ones we're supposed to be getting, I guess.
Yeah, and they had nothing bad or as of right now, nothing bad to say about them or any malfunctions or anything along those lines, from what I understand.
Yes, Dana.
Just to address the finance, because it did come up, we do have money in the budget. We had a carryover, our 2024 road program. Purchase order was still open, and that had about $400,000 on it when we closed it out. So that became available, and I over budgeted for Ridgeberry, so that money's available. And if there's any other small change orders that would need to come through, there is cash fund balance that we can pull from in that fund. So it would be still coming from the roads fund, and there is money to accommodate this change order right now.
Thank you. Mr. Minor.
Following up on Andy and Kathy's question, and I think you might have answered it around the programming of it. Mm-hmm. My question is more so: is there an override based on traffic? So if we program it to say it's 2.5 minutes, but then there's nobody, turning left or right, and whoever's going straight, the sensor will just go, oh, well, we don't need to wait 2.5 minutes. Nobody's over there. Let this traffic go. But I'm assuming that's a programming thing.
Yeah, and there's traffic studies that have been done that dictate heavy traffic, low traffic, and we have the ability to set those patterns based on the traffic use. And it could be changed. It could be changed. And what everyone also needs to understand is when our EMS and police run, they're getting to where they got to get quickly. It trips their Opticom, their preemptive, and it does alter the patterns of the lights. This will hopefully now, it's the new system, not the loop detection, but the new guts is supposed to help reel that back in sooner than what it currently does. So that's another thing. So we get a lot of calls about non-cycling lights, and Mayfield Road is busy. We have a hospital here. We're running to the hospital all the time. So the lights, sometimes people get a little aggravated that they're waiting, but a lot of the times when our squad runs through or the PD runs through, you have to wait an extra cycle. So that's still going to happen. Can't eliminate that part of it, but this will hopefully get things back in sync a little bit quicker. At least that's the hope.
No.
Yes, Mr. Buffa.
I was going to ask about the ambulances, so you just covered that.
Okay, good.
This was a fascinating, this is really good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes, Mr. Brunello.
Thanks, Mr. President. Just during the installation process, the 12-week or whatever the time frame is, what is the what does the installation process look like in the sense? Will we see trucks like with booms up top or in lanes? Is it done during the day? Just kind of what to expect from and then it could have been part of some of this literature that we read. There's a lot of stuff to read, but
You're definitely going to see equipment out here as far as bucket trucks and things like that. They have to go up in the air, obviously, to change out the lights. So you're going to see bucket trucks. You're going to see probably some boring machines to continue to run fiber optic. I'm not sure how far they got along with that process or not. Pretty much just going to see work trucks and bucket trucks for sure. Most stuff will be done from the ground. Once the cabinets are put in place, their existing cabinets will be opened up, and guts will be changed out. So if there's going to be road shut down, it's going to be one lane when they're working on that particular light. And as of right now, they're not doing anything at night. I don't know if ODOT permits night work. I'm not sure how they organize night work, but this is an ODOT project, so we kind of have to follow their rules as far as the work and how they address work. So.
Mr. Minor?
Who's going to program the system, and is that fee already included with the purchase of the cameras?
Yes. The initial programming will be done by Param and will be done by Mike, our in-house traffic engineer. Most of it will be set as they're going. They're going to pull the guts, put new guts in. They're going to ask us what we want them to be set at, but we'll be the ones responsible for working with them to get things set in place.
And is it our responsibility to keep that programming going moving
100%.
forward? Okay.
Yep. We own them.
Mr. Buffa?
Thank you. I know the 12 weeks is just an estimate.
Yeah.
But that's bumping up right into December right now.
Yep.
So if there's any kind of delay with equipment or anything, and it goes into winter, do you see this being postponed then because of weather and picked it back up in the spring?
That is a good question. I think everyone was anticipating the decision tonight on whether and how that was going to work. I believe if this didn't get approved tonight, we decided just to carry on. They plan to be done. They're waiting on mast arms right now, which were several weeks out for the three. Because they plan once they get everything, they're going to move and just get in and out of here as fast as they can. But with this additional work, I don't know. I guess I'll have to ask and get a kind of a timeline. The minute, if it's approved, if they could provide me some sort of a timeline. And if they're, again, I don't want to assume, but it can't be pleasurable to work up in the air. So I would hope that they would postpone it to the spring. But I don't know for sure. I could find out or inquire for sure.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Brunello? Yes, Mr.
Should I
Minor.
just go through my last three? Is that?
Yeah,
is that- okay.
please.
All right. Just that way we don't have that pause or anything. All right, so first question is, most cloud-based services normally have a subscription. Does this have an included annual subscription that's not currently listed?
It does, yes. And I don't know that number offhand.
Okay.
It wasn't, as far as I can remember, it wasn't substantial. Dana, do you remember that number?
The one we did earlier was 2,800. Mm-hmm. But I don't know the annual report after that.
I don't recall it being anything too crazy. Just like 400,000 or 500,000. I'm kidding. Kidding. No, I don't. There is, but I don't recall the number offhand. I could probably dig through my notes.
I mean, I think our change order was for 5 for 2,800, to move those 5 to the cloud base we previously approved, but that was only 5, it's now 17.
So we could probably approximate, 3 sets of 5, maybe even 4, just to go
I'm
high.
thinking it was a 3-year plan. Like I remember having this conversation with Mike. I'll dig it. I know I haven't. I'm almost, he either said it was a 5-year plan, including this year, or 5 once the project was completed. I have it. I know I have it because we talked about it.
Okay.
I can get you this as soon as I.
And I may have fibbed and said 3, but Andy had his hand up, so I'm going to be quiet and let Andy ask his
I'm
question
sorry.
too.
Yes, Mr. Teller.
Chuck, you did mention that, okay, if we don't get going on this right away and it gets pushed back to the spring, we all know how costs do go up. Are they guaranteeing the price will be the same even though they got to wait till spring? If it comes to that?
Once everything is ordered, it's paid for.
Okay.
Yeah, it's paid
Even the
for.
labor and, I mean, all the,
I believe the contract, I don't think they can alter the contract.
okay. I just wonder if there's a window on that, that's all.
I don't, Nick, am I wrong with that? Okay.
So if approved, they will purchase the material immediately. Durham's already under contract and build out, so the
Yeah.
labor is locked.
All right, thank you, Nick. Thank you, Chuck.
Oh, you're welcome. I did inquire today, this afternoon, about additional costs because the project essentially is going to go up, right? It's going to, if it gets approved, it's going to jump $711,000. And he responded, the construction managers said the project had a CE and I estimate of 10% from the original contract, increasing the project to approximately $750,000, could possibly increase what the city owes. Using the same 10% would increase it about $75,000. However, the department would not invoice the city until project finalization. I do not anticipate the cost increasing that much for any and all added work. So we had a little, and I asked that because we ran into a situation a few years back with some other work they did, the state did, and they added some additional fees to us that we weren't expecting. So I wanted to get that flushed out now. And
Yeah, if you could look into that, thank you. Thank
Sure.
you.
Mr. Miner, did you ask all your questions?
I did not yet.
what?
Warranty. What's the warranty for these cameras? I don't recall seeing that in the materials. And I mean, if you know it, by all means, we can say it, but if not.
I don't know it.
You know what?
Okay.
I asked that question. in
Yeah,
the
I don't
email.
remember what that number was either. 5 year?
5-year warranty?
That number 5 is stuck in my brain, so I think I'm almost, I don't want to say almost, we're pretty certain it's 5 years.
Okay.
Again, we have that information. I just didn't. I grabbed the important stuff.
All right. Then just from a scope of per intersection, like project, like, can you just give like a quick overview of what has to happen at every intersection, whether it's we're replacing some bar on the light itself, doing work on boxes at each one, just a scope of what happens at each of the intersections so people understand it.
So the 3 are getting completely overhauled. Iroquois, Ranchland, Mayfield Ridge. By overhaul, all new mast arms. Actually, they ran into a snag at Iroquois, so Iroquois is maybe getting 2 new mast arms. In any event, new mast arms, new traffic boxes, which one of them is already up. So if you go to Dairy Queen for your late night snack, you'll see a brand new big box there. That's the new traffic box. So that is essentially what they're going to look like. They're pretty big. So with that, all new components within the box and new crosswalk signals, which I believe are already up. Some of them are still taped off because they're not functioning yet. So new components, so new mast arms for those 3, all new overhead signals, new PED crosswalks, and components of the boxes. And now, again, if this is approved, the cameras overhead.
So my last question, if
Oh, you said there was only 3. This is number 4.
I know, I told you I might have fibbed. I said I might have fibbed because I added another one. This is just a cost question. So right now the project's going to cost about 2.8. I'll round up, right? Because we already approved 2 million prior and paid it out as our portion of the project. We're going to add another 7-11 to it. Are there any other foreseeable costs for this project, just to keep in mind, that could come down the pipe?
The only one that I know of as of right now is the additional cost for ODOT to run the project. That's it.
Which could be 10% of
Which could be
this
10%. No more than 10%, by the way. It's 10% is the number that's locked in. I don't believe there's any contingency money. There may be some non-perform money, along the lines they may run into that may save us a few dollars. They already did that a couple of times, which is why that change order for the cloud was only $2,800 versus $5,800 where it first came in back when it did. They found some existing conduit or something along Mayfield Road they didn't have to do. So there could be, hopefully for the better, some non-perform because some existing things are already functioning properly or don't need to be changed out or things like that. But as far as I know, right now, the only projected increase throughout the course of this project would be just that.
Cool beans.
Yes, Mayor.
With the Lyndhurst Road project and Mayfield Road, will any of this be affected of what's going on over there?
I'm not sure when that project starts. The
Don't either.
resurfacing of Mayfield and Lyndhurst?
Yes.
It shouldn't have any bearing on that work. I think I guess I don't know for certain. There may be some overlap,
Okay,
but I'm not sure when Lyndhurst is slated to start, so I don't know.
okay.
They won't be in each other's way because one's working, most work can be done off of the road, the traffic box and things like that. So hopefully they can coordinate with each other. I know I'm sure the engineers will chit-chat a little bit when that time comes. If the new signals have to go up or the mast arms have to go up, they'll talk to each other and hopefully work it out, or that's the intent. I hope.
Okay. And- Okay.
Oh, if that's the case, then we should be good.
We should be fine
Yeah.
then?
That intersection's getting all redone, the arms and
Right.
things like that. So if it's spring, we should be good.
Okay.
I have one more.
Yes, Ms. Delbin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chuck, when you find out about the warranty, like how long the warranty is, could you also see if you can also get an extended warranty at a later point in time? Because if the initial warranty is 5 years and it's got a 10-year shelf life, it'd be nice to know if you could get a warranty for remaining or if you wanted to renew. Sometimes you don't have to do it at the time, you can do it later, so it would be good to know what that is, to know if that's something we should have kind of on the radar to pay attention to.
Sure. I can definitely inquire about that type of stuff.
Mr. Buffa, did you have a question?
I did, thank you. I noticed there was something about video upgrades, and I was just wondering if, from our research with Stone Hudson, if you learned anything about like how often video upgrades occur and
As far as I know, again, this is not verbatim, but like most new technology, when updates come through, they get pushed through. That's about the extent of what I know about the updates. I have not heard anything from either of those two cities, though, as far as any updates to their system or anything along those lines. But typically with these things, only because it's newer technology, things get pushed through like they do with computers and things like that. But I have not heard anything from those two municipalities, so.
okay, fair. And the last question, I noticed that there was a bullet about the removal of the loops and us incurring that cost within the project. So I'm assuming that in 2 years when we do the Mayfield project, we'll just tear those up.
Get ripped up.
But are there other loops that would not be video like, do these 17 take care of everything, or?
On
they're-
Mayfield Road, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, from Iroquois down to the hospital, I believe, or St. Francis.
Francis.
Okay,
Yep,
thank you.
sure.
Any other questions from Mr. Brunello? Mr. Finney, Mr. Fatika, anything else you want to add? I will entertain a motion to adjourn our committee of the whole.
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Minor,
Second.
second by Ms. Telbin. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everyone. It is 7:05, and we are now adjourned. Thank you. No, we did not talk about the progress on Mayfield Road based on your email and some of the discussions that are taking place on, what steps we are taking to repair or resurface. So I don't know if we want to do open the cow back out, because we just about closed this cow. Because we are not in the next meeting, there is no vote on the Mayfield Road repair. This was more of just an update to where we are in the process based on some emails and what the mayor sent us. Should we make a motion to reopen our committee of the whole
Discussion
on the next meeting?
in the meeting, yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay. Good evening. I would like to welcome everyone to the August 25th Special Council meeting in the city of Mayfield Heights. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Brunello,
Here.
Mr. Buffa,
Here.
Miss Finney Brown. Here. Mr. Medic,
Here.
Mr. Minor,
Here.
Miss Talbin,
Here.
Mr. Teller.
Here.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we will start with resolutions, starting with resolution number 2026-57. Mr. LaGrasso.
Thank you, Mr. President. Resolution 2026-57 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a change order agreement with ODOT in an amount not to exceed $711,075.30 for loop detectors and video detection systems for the city of Mayfield Heights and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
Move.
Moved by Mr. Teller.
Second.
Second by Ms. Finney Brown. Roll call on the motion to suspend.
Mr. Brunello,
Yes.
Mr. Buffa.
Yes.
Miss Finney Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Minor,
Yes.
Miss Talbin,
Yes.
Mr. Teller,
Yes.
Mr. Medic.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Buffa.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bonello. The City of Mayfield Heights desires to accept and approve a change order from ODOT for a loop detection and video detection systems for the Mayfield Road Traffic Signal Replacement Project. Are there any additional further questions outside of our Committee of the Whole meeting? Roll call on the motion to approve.
Mr. Buffa,
Yes.
Miss Finney Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Minor,
Yes.
Miss Talbin,
Yes.
Mr. Teller,
Yes.
Mr. Brunello,
Yes.
Mr. Medic.
Yes. This resolution is now adopted. We'll move it to a discussion on Mayfield Road. Mr. Finney, would you like to lead the discussion?
Thank you, Council and Mayor. As Chuck had mentioned in his narrative on the signal project, one of the driving forces in the resolution that you voted on tonight was the pavement condition on Mayfield Road. I'll have a much more detailed report for you in an upcoming council meeting. I'll give you a very bird's eye planning level review of what we've been dealing with. So that, as it exists now, Mayfield Road, can you hear me? Construction was completed in 2009. And since that time, the pavement's been failing prematurely. We've been lobbying ODOT and pleading our case for assistance to repair the road. Typically, you'd expect to get at least 35 years out of that pavement before you're investing the type of money that you guys started investing in as early as 2016. If you recall, some of you that have been around that long, the city would annually appropriate, $500,000 a year to repair concrete joints and slabs. So through the process of lobbying with ODOT, where we're at right now is we have federal funds secured through NOACA in the amount of roughly $6.5 million. So as the project currently sits as its program with ODOT, it's a little bit over $8.5 million. Again, the money through NOACA is roughly 6.5 with a $1.6 million contribution on the city's local side. Through our research and walking the corridor, we feel that's not enough money. So engineering and service in the mayor's office have been talking about it. Engineering's put together a planning level estimate as recent as, I believe, May or June. We've walked the entire corridor and identified all the deficiencies that we see. Again, these are planning level. We came up with at least a $12 million job for a pavement rehabilitation project, which is what ODOT has it classified as. So as you can imagine, if the project's north of 12 million and we have 6.5 from NOACA, there's a big gap to bridge funding wise. So we've been exploring all opportunities and avenues in bridging that gap. One of which will be OPWC, which is coming up on an upcoming meeting. Similar to how we did with the Washington project. We'll apply for state money to bridge some of that gap. We've recently applied to ODOT. They have a program they called their urban paving program. They make money available for state route improvements throughout municipalities. So we've applied for another $1.5 million through that program. I'm not sure exactly when they determine which applications are accepted for that money, so we'll wait and see there. In the most recent development, we're entertaining the possibility of obtaining additional federal funding through a federal earmark. If we go that route, the $12 million project that we have currently estimated represents roughly 35 to 40% of the footprint of the road, so that's a big chunk. In our world, once you get to that threshold, you should be talking about pavement replacement, not pavement maintenance. So if we're going to pursue additional federal money, we've already went through the exercise of looking at our pavement estimate for the ODOT project and coming up with a cost for a total replacement. Because the last thing we want to do is spend this time and money repairing Mayfield Road. As it currently stands, if the project goes forward the way ODOT has it programmed, we're basically going to, for lack of a better description, we're going to make patchwork out of the road. We're going to continue to go out there and replace joints and slabs. Hopefully you get it all. Maybe you don't. But we can't continue to spend that kind of time, money, and effort fixing that road and having to go back out there again. From a cost standpoint, from an inconvenience standpoint, from a disruption standpoint, it just doesn't make sense. So if we're able to and we're successful in getting a federal earmark, our plan would be to replace the whole road. So we did prepare planning level estimates. I don't have detailed numbers to provide you today, and I don't want to misinform you on where we're at. But in that process, we would identify the cost if we would tear the road out and put it back in concrete, as well as tear the road out and put it back in asphalt. Not that you want asphalt, but we would compare those numbers and provide it to the federal authorities. I believe the current schedule, we're in the process of coordinating meetings with the federal representatives. I believe that application would happen sometime in February of 2027. But again, as it relates to this signal project, conversation started many weeks ago with Chuck and Tony in the mayor's office. And our whole point about these cameras were, if you don't do the cameras and you right now you have a hodgepodge. You've got some intersections have cameras, some have the in-pavement loop detectors that were described by Chuck. Some have radar sensors. Those are pole mounted, but they're similar to cameras, but a little bit different. Without the cameras, you'd have that whole hodgepodge. You'd be spending money investing in infrastructure in the pavement that in my opinion, is going to get ripped out in a couple of years when the Mayfield Road project starts. So that was one of the driving forces in why that resolution was presented tonight. But like I said, I'll have much more information for you on the Mayfield Road project as it pertains to the pavement. So if you have any questions on anything that I've just rattled off tonight, I'd be happy to answer anything.
Yes, Mayor.
Nick, share with everyone about in the interim, what we would be doing in the process of.
So with the federal money that's currently in place with NOACA, the earliest possible date, the way the project is programmed with ODOT, earliest possible construction start would be in July 2028. So we've got a long time to bridge the gap between that project, which is going to require a lot of effort and planning. As Chuck just mentioned and Tony can attest to, pavement that looks good today, you get a big rain event, or let's say it's winter, looks like crap the next day. They're constantly out there putting in cold patch, repairing this stuff. How do we make it for the next 2.5, maybe 3 years until the right project starts? We've been tossing around ideas. We've met with local contractors who bid your pavement maintenance projects, that do joint repairs and other types of methods to maintain these pavements. All the feedback we've gotten to date from local contractors were, our joint patches and the methods that we use, you're wasting your time and money because that pavement's so far gone. So with that in mind, the two target areas that we've been looking at, with a laser focus are obviously eastbound traffic east of 91 in front of the hospital, that pavement's shot. And then the area eastbound by Hobby Lobby, we would be looking at entertaining a request to council to allow us to do some temporary patching, with the caveat being it's temporary. For lack of a better description, Mayor, I'd call it a Band-Aid.
Right.
Going out there and grinding it enough that we can put a 2-inch asphalt overlay so that folks can drive through the corridor, without, the gurneys in the back of the ambulance bouncing around, or, people getting flat tires. It would be a temporary pavement patch.
So can I just back up?
Yes, please.
So the importance of this is because you'll have residents in 2 years say, they just paved it. They're ripping it all
Right.
out. What are they doing?
What are they doing? They don't know what
Yeah,
they're doing.
so this is important for us to be able to explain, why we did this and how it's going to hold out till we actually do the project. Because it's going to look like a complete waste of money.
And to your point,
But-
Mayor, folks will tie it to what's happening in Lyndhurst. As was discussed in the committee of the whole meeting, Lyndhurst is going to repair their concrete pavement and put asphalt on top of it, which I would never recommend that for you guys. Your concrete base is so shot, if you put asphalt on that, it's gone. It's not going to last. But folks might tie it, if we do some temporary patching to bridge the gap between now and the bigger project, folks might tie it to, they'll say, well, you guys are overlaying. Why are you ripping it out? Or you put asphalt on, but you didn't do the whole road. So there's going to be that perception as well.
Right. I just wanted him to mention that to everybody because will be a huge question that many of us will get. And it's also going to be a cost, but we haven't figured that out yet.
We're working on numbers, and it's obviously dependent on, how far of an area do we try to cover. And right now we're, in between 500,000 and 700,000, but we've got to refine it. And we'll look at the scope of what we're going to ultimately propose and recommend to see if we can dial it in. Again, knowing that it's temporary.
I have a question.
Any questions? Yes, Ms. Dilbin.
Yes, Mr. President. I'm wondering, do you have any idea why this failed early? And what we could do so we're not in the same situation? Like, do you have any insight in any contributing factors?
It could be multiple causes. My best guess is it's a combination of poor base and couple that with material issues in the concrete pavement itself. Because a lot of the failures that we see, your concrete pavement on that road, the joint spacing when it was built is roughly 15 feet. So the slab length as you're driving down the road is 15 feet in between the joints that they built, which is not, that's roughly where you want it. A lot of the failures we see are in the middle of those two joints, which means, the structural integrity of the pavement is gone. My guess is the underlying base is things are shifting and moving around, and the load support you get underneath the concrete, it's not evenly distributed. It's not uncommon, or it is uncommon to see those structural failures mid-slab. On this road, you typically see that these pavements start falling apart first at the joints. You know, over the years, you know, they weather, they get infiltrated with waters and salts, and things expand and contract, and the joints blow out, which is why you typically asphalt patch those or seal those to you know, maintain the longevity of the pavement. So if you know, to answer your question, my best guess, without any forensic engineering, is it's a combination of the base layer under the concrete and potentially material issues with the pavement itself. Again, the road was finished, I believe, in 2009. That type of pavement, the useful life, should have been at least 35 years before you get to the point of what you're about to invest in it. 35 years before you significantly start doing the amount of repairs that you're doing. And then the total overall life cycle for a concrete pavement like that should be 50 years before you replace it. And here we are contemplating a total replacement. It's not even 20 years old.
Right. So can I have a follow-up?
Yes,
on
Ms.
that?
Tillman.
So is it a contractual, the contractor making those choices? And can you, when you have a contractor doing this kind of work, do they provide any guarantee at all?
Now, on ODOT contracts like this, there's no maintenance period, there's no guarantees. Once the job is completed and it's accepted, that's it, it's done. But could it be means and methods by the contractor? Could be.
But there's no
I
way
can't
for
say
us to
definitively.
protect ourselves.
Well, we intend to do some geotechnical investigation to try and pinpoint and put our finger on the pulse and see if we can glean any insight before this overall project starts the design process. You know, drill through the pavement, drill into the soil. I mean, the record plans from 2009, the 2009 project, the way the road was designed, you know, it was built with a 12-inch cement stabilized subbase. So meaning the road comes out, they're building the new road. It's like a giant rototiller. They grind up the soil, they inject it with cement, they roll it and compact it. That's 12 inches thick. On top of that, you have 6 inches of limestone aggregate that separates that stabilized base with a 10-inch concrete pavement. It's a heck of a pavement section to fail the way it's failed.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Yeah, so I just wanted to back Nick up. I had asked him if we can get this tested, so that he was planning on doing that. And everything that we have record-wise is going to go towards hopefully getting a bigger grant, we're hoping, with everything that we have compiled. Pictures, images, statements from various police, fire departments, our hospital. And then hopefully if we can get the testing back from the pavement, maybe it will help our story.
Any other questions? Well, thank you both, and thank you everyone involved for keeping us up to date. I'm sorry. Yes, Mr. Buffa.
I just wanted to, not a question, but just, thank you to the mayor and to Nick, because I know you guys have put a lot of months into this. And I just want to make sure the residents know that you've been working on this behind the scenes, and it hasn't all been out in the public, all the steps you've been taking. So I just wanted to draw attention to that.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a slow grind when you're exploring funding, whether it's federal and state. I wish it happened faster.
Yes, Ms. Delbin.
And this, what the mayor also said about, residents will have questions and stuff. So I don't know if we can have a communication plan or more dedicated space on the website about these projects so that we can at least put out the standard information, because it makes it easier for people to see it, the detail, and for us to review it ourselves, to remind ourselves of all these details as well. Because I think that's our biggest challenge always, is communication with residents, and for them to have really a place to know that they can go to find out what the rationale is, what the background is, what the timeline is, all of those sorts of things. And if we can get something that's standard, then we have something that helps us with that.
Great idea. We'll
So
do that.
thank you.
I'll talk to Tammy about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And I already owe Tammy that, as she reminded me tonight. So we do have product and information in the works. I've been reminded to get it to her. Things are changing and moving all the time, and I just want to be careful I don't put something out there on the website that's completely off base factually, and then folks hold you to the fire for that as well. But yeah, it is in the works, and Tammy's waiting on my reports.
Any other final questions, comments, thoughts? Thank you, Mr. Finney. Thank you, Mayor. Well, that is the end of our agenda, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Ms. Finney Brown,
Second.
second by Mr. Bonello. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, everyone. It is 7:25, and we are now adjourned.